Not every actor has been nominated for a performance in an equally Oscar-worthy film. Hey, it's Michael, aka Oscar Man, and I want to talk about some Oscar nominated performances in films that were, well, perhaps not so terrific. Our favorite Oscar bridesmaid, Glenn Close, received her eighth nomination in 2020's Hillbilly Elegy. Based on the best selling memoir, the film version was disliked by most critics and audiences, presently holding a 25% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. However, as Meemaw, Glenn Close received mostly positive reviews, some calling her performance award worthy, sensational, and masterful.
You gotta take care of business, you gotta go to school, you gotta get good grades to even have a chance.
Mom was the best in her class. What's the point?
I'm talking about a chance. You might not make it, but you sure as hell won't if you don't try.
Why do you even care what I do?
I ain't gonna live forever.
Close sailed through the awards circuit, receiving nominations for Best Supporting Actress not only from the Academy, but also the Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, Screen Actors Guild, and the Golden Raspberries, the latter making her the third person in history to receive Oscar and Razzie nominations for the same performance. Here are the other two. Hillbilly Elegy helped Glenn Close to tie with Peter O'Toole as the actor with the most Oscar nominations without winning. I have a strong feeling her ninth try will finally result in a trip up to the Oscar stage. The consensus of The Lovely Bones, based on the novel of the same name, was all over the place when it was released in 2009. The story of a murdered girl who watches over her family from heaven divided filmgoers and movie critics, the latter score averaging 32% on Rotten Tomatoes, yet the performances were spared from the harsh reaction the film received. I think Stanley Tucci is one of the most underrated actors working today. With over 100 films to his credit, Tucci is one of those reliable actors who can play a range of different characters. In The Lovely Bones, Tucci took a risk playing George, a serial killer, which his wife urged him not to play.
Do you have a boyfriend? Oh, I knew it. See, I knew you weren't like those other girls. I knew that.
Mr. Harvey?
Mm-hmm. It's nice down here, isn't it? Special down here, right?
Yes. It is. It's very special.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Tucci claimed he would have refused to recreate the violent rape scene depicted in the novel if director Peter Jackson had chosen not to omit it from the film, a decision the book's author disagreed with. Stanley Tucci was nominated at all of the precursors, including the Golden Globes, SAGs, and Critics' Choice Awards, as well as at the Oscars. I think he is a very talented actor, and I'm glad he has an Oscar nomination on his resume. And while The Lovely Bones may not represent the finest film of his career, I hope Stanley Tucci will be recognized by the Academy again.
They drummed you right out of Hollywood. So you come crawling back to Broadway. Well, Broadway doesn't go for booze and dope. Now you get out of my way, because I've got a man waiting for me.
That's a switch from the fags you're usually stuck with.
At least that film version of a Jacqueline Suzanne novel was fun in addition to being terrible. But 1975's Once Is Not Enough, the first one to include the author's name in the title, was just dull. Except, of course, for Brenda Vaccaro's hilarious turn as Linda Riggs, a Helen Gurley Brown-esque magazine editor. Perpetually horny and without any semblance of a filter, Linda helps the protagonist, the wooden Deborah Raffin, to navigate her way through her various uninteresting conflicts with men.
January! Who the hell do you think I am? Hello! I forgot. How long has it been since you've seen me?
8, 9 years.
Well, I've had a nose job. My teeth have been capped. My tits were lifted. My ass was flattened, and my knees were straightened. My navel, I'm proud to say, was untouched. It's perfect.
Oh, I always thought you were wonderful. You had such a great personality, Linda.
And wouldn't you know it? I went through all that trouble and expense just to get beautiful, and now ugly is in. I want my old nose back.
Suzanne's story, which featured a possible incestuous relationship between father and daughter, a secret lesbian affair, and an impotent famous author, failed to generate any excitement on film. But Vaccaro, performing like she's in a comedy, managed to eke out not only an Oscar nomination for Best Supporting Actress, but a win at that year's Golden Globe Awards. 1975 wasn't the strongest year in either the supporting or lead actress category. That said, I loved Brenda Vaccaro's performance in this really bad movie. If you've never seen Once Is Not Enough, I don't suggest that you watch the film in its entirety. Just skip to Vaccaro's scenes and have a few laughs, provided by this versatile actress's ability to have fun with terrible material. Some other performances nominated for films that weren't up to the actor's talent include the always wonderful Bette Midler in For the Boys. Midler earned her second Best Actress nomination for this 1991 critical and commercial bomb about a singer who entertains the troops during World War II. While the Broadway production of Nine was a Tony Award-winning smash, the film version landed with a thud. Yet Penelope Cruz managed to earn her third nomination, her second as supporting actress, for her role as Daniel Day-Lewis's mistress. Robert Vaughn credited co-star Paul Newman with helping the relative newcomer to be cast in 1959's The Young Philadelphians. Even though Newman thought the script was wretched and reportedly hated making the film, he helped Vaughn land the role by agreeing to screen test with him. Known by many for his work in the television series The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Vaughn received Oscar and Golden Globe nominations for his performance as a man falsely accused of murder. I can tell you that he is surprisingly good in this otherwise mediocre film. Twilight of Honor was a B-movie made in 1963 for the sole purpose of exploiting the emerging popularity of Richard Chamberlain, TV's Dr. Kildare. This courtroom melodrama has been long forgotten, though it has a place in Oscar history, thanks to the Best Supporting Actor nomination for Nick Adams as the defendant in the case. I mention this film because Adams' personal story of how he ended up as an Oscar nominee is much more interesting than the film itself. Nick Adams struggled in his early attempts to carve out a career as an actor, bouncing from small, uncredited parts to a stint in Mr. Roberts. The parts got better once Adams was signed by notorious talent agent Henry Wilson, whose roster consisted of mostly good-looking actors who were either closeted gays or straight men who, well, could be turned for a shot at movie stardom. As for Adams, stories are mixed as to his sexual identity, but few disagreed that he did whatever he could to get film roles. Soon, he moved on to small parts in Picnic, Rebel Without a Cause, and Pillow Talk. Adams was reportedly very close friends with James Dean, and dubbed the actor's lines in Giant following Dean's untimely death. The next star Adams befriended was Elvis, and he ingratiated himself into the superstar's world despite the objections of manager Colonel Parker. Following more work in television, Adams landed the supporting role in Twilight of Honor, and while the film was dismissed by critics and audiences, Adams did everything he could to win the Oscar, ultimately spending $8,000 out of his own pocket on trade ads to draw attention to his performance.
Arrested you in Springfield. Did you sign this confession?
Oh, not at first, sir, so they kept questioning me all day, through the night, too.
They feed you?
No, sir. And just before dawn, they sent in this here officer who come up there with Sheriff Wheeler, and he said, son, I come a long ways for what I want, and I aim to get it, so You sign or I'm gonna stomp your guts out. And he started grinding me.
Grinding, what's that?
Sadly, the nomination did nothing for Adams' career, and in 2 years he was reduced to starring in Japanese science fiction movies. 5 years following his Oscar nomination, Nick Adams was found dead, his case becoming unsolved as to whether the cause was suicide, murder, or accidental overdose. Nick Adams was good in a forgettable film, but if his life story was ever made into a movie, it could be an Oscar-worthy role for the right actor. Well, not even the great Geraldine Page could escape appearing in a movie unworthy of her talents. In 1972's Pete and Tilly, Page received her 5th out of 8 nominations, this time as Best Supporting Actress for her comedic role as Gertrude, the catty best friend of Tilly, played by Carol Burnett.
She calls this man, and she said, "After you left last night, I found a gold cigarette lighter." Now, she did no such thing, of course. From Dunhill's. Is it yours by any chance? Well, since there was no lighter in the first place, this is no. It isn't mine. I wish I could afford a Dunhill. Thank you, just the same.
What appeared to be and was marketed as a fun comedy about the romance between two lonely people, played by Burnett and Walter Matthau, Pete and Tilly took a sharp left turn into dark tragedy, leaving audiences confused as to what kind of film this was supposed to be. Though her moments are silly and her scenes are pretty much throwaways, only Geraldine Page could pull off an Oscar nomination in a routine movie of the week effort. 2 outstanding actresses received supporting nominations for their work in films that each could have omitted from their credits. 1971's Who is Harry Kellerman and Why is He Saying Those Terrible Things About Me was critically panned and a disaster at the box office, a surprise for star Dustin Hoffman, who had a string of successes to that point. His co-star Barbara Harris was able to rise above a bad script with a star-making performance as Allison, who in a couple of scenes conveys the sadness and rejection she experiences after another audition goes south. In 1958's Lonely Hearts, Maureen Stapleton made her film debut as Fay, a rejected wife who begs for the attention from an advice to the lovelorn columnist played by Montgomery Clift. The two characters share a brief encounter that turns ugly. Of course, it's no surprise that Stapleton delivers a strong performance, even though the film itself is less than exceptional. Before I discuss one more Oscar-nominated performance in a non-Oscar-worthy film, I want to say thank you for being a part of this channel. I started creating videos because of my love of the Oscars, and it's been such an unexpected pleasure to find others who enjoy discussing and debating the winners and losers of its 90-plus years of existence. I ask that you watch to the end to hear a message from an Oscar winner. Then please hit the like button, and if you're not already a member of our community, consider subscribing to the channel and join us for weekly videos and daily polls. If you've seen some of my previous videos, you know that one of my favorite nominated performances was given by Diana Ross in Lady Sings the Blues. Her tour de force as singer Billie Holiday was so outstanding that I knew it could never be replicated. So when I first heard about the production of a movie entitled The United States vs. Billie Holiday, I wasn't pleased. How dare anyone attempt to do what Ross so masterfully accomplished? After the film was released in 2021, I began reading about how great Andra was in the title role. I put off seeing the film until after she was nominated for Best Actress, though my curiosity grew when she surprisingly won the Golden Globe against some stellar competition. Like Ross, Andra was starring in her first major film role, and similar to Lady Sings the Blues, The United States vs. Billie Holiday was roundly criticized for telling a revisionist version of its subject matter's life, while at the same time showcasing an outstanding performance by a screen newcomer. I went into watching the film with the expectation that the script wouldn't be good, but the day could be great. And when I finished it, my expectations were fulfilled.
Y'all motherfuckers think I got something on me. You don't. You stupid bitches don't got shit on.
Day actually surprised me, giving a gritty, unsanitized look at a renowned singer's life filled with triumphs and tragedies. While I won't compare Day's performance to that of Ross's, because each one was very different, I will say that given the choice between Andra Day and that year's winner Frances McDormand in Nomadland, I would have voted for Day. Let me conclude with some fun Oscar trivia. Andra Day and co-nominee Viola Davis in Ma Rainey's Black Bottom became the second pair of African Americans to be nominated for Best Actress in the same year. The first time this happened was in 1972, when Cicely Tyson was nominated for Sounder alongside, that's right, Diana Ross in Lady Sings the Blues. So, which actors do you think received Oscar nominations for their performances in films that were bad, terrible, mediocre, forgettable, you name it? I can't wait to read your suggestions. And until the next video, I'll leave you with this.
You know you've entered new territory when you realize that your outfit costs more than your film. You think I'm joking, but